Hi everyone, this is the Estimating Edge webinar team. We are going to give folks a couple of extra minutes to get started, to jump on here, and then we are going to get started with John. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining our webinar today. It's called the Nail the Next Bid Season with Better Estimating, featuring the Estimating Edge. My name is John Lombardo and I'm with the Edge. If you're here, you're more likely a roofing contractor who wants to optimize your estimating and takeoff process for a stronger and faster, more accurate bid season. We'll take you through the Edge so you can take a look at all the features, how to better estimate with the Edge and help navigate this bid season. Housekeeping items, everyone will be on mute, and if you have any questions, you'll be able to ask through the chat box in the webinar. Everyone will get a copy of this recording later. Let's get started. What this webinar will cover today: the foundation software product portfolio, the bid season challenges for all estimators, the Estimating Edge overview, a demo and walkthrough of the Edge, and then we'll wrap it up. The foundation software products include the foundation accounting software, including job costing, the HQ suites, the payroll for construction, McCormick, the Edge, and WorkMax. The bid season challenges for estimators and owners includes time pressure and tight deadlines, complex plans and specs, competitive pressure from your competitors, risk of errors in your estimating, coordination across multiple trades. The Estimating Edge is an estimating and digital takeoff solution. It's an all-in-one estimating. It serves areas for acoustical, drywall, EIFS, fireproofing, flooring, painting, roofing, wall panels, waterproofing, and also concrete. The Edge is a professional choice considered as an all-in-one estimating. Takeoff and estimating is in one application. The Edge professional grade estimating software is built for construction estimators for estimators. We're inside the Edge estimating software. I created a bid called Next Bid Season Estimate. We're going to go ahead and expand or break out the different bids underneath this scenario or this example. We got the base bid. You can create base bid with alternates. You can create change orders. Any of the conditions that you use inside any of these scenarios can be copied and pasted to any of these other scenarios to speed up the estimating process. So let's take a look at the base bid. I'll click on it with the left mouse. I can access pricing, labor, recap instantly from these little icons over on the right. Right now I've checked out the job, so I can now get inside of this bid to make changes. So if I received a call from an owner that wants me to change information of any of these different sections here, I created one called roofing. I have an interior, concrete, waterproofing. So any of these sections can be estimated with inside the edge. You could have multiple estimators working on different sections all at the same time if you wish. But today we're just going to focus on roofing. So I open up the roofing section. You can set up multiple different takeoff pages. You can set up a tapered design. You could do a tapered with a standing seam. You can break out your roofing. Either it's a TPO, built up, modified system. You would just open up the next screen, which is now becoming conditions. Each of these conditions are measuring either linear foot, square foot, or inches. And once the quantity is measured from the takeoff screen using the appropriate scale, it generates what we call items. So let's take a look at the takeoff screen first. I open up the arrow and now you'll end up seeing our takeoff screen. It's refreshing, so give it a few seconds. This is called the bid tree. It's very similar to the screen we were just on. So as you walk through the estimate, anything that was measured, it's going to be colored through these different color palettes, which can be easily changed to make the presentation of your takeoff more readable or more understandable. As you point your mouse to the window or the roof drawing area, if you just roll your mouse forward, it allows you to pan or scoot inside of that drawing. Over on the right, you can pan your drawing to the appropriate place where you need to view or edit or change information. Each of these conditions will allow you to measure either square foot, linear foot, and inches. You can switch to your taper design, and you can see here we've got a tapered layout. So if I click on this screen or this area, we can do crickets, we can do taper board, cricket boards, fasteners, plates, adhesive, etc. If you click on the standing seam area and you break down the conditions, you could do a standing seam layout. Just give it a few seconds, just refreshing. There we go. So now you can see clearly I've laid out my standing seam panels. I have my hips, ridge, valleys, eave measured out. Basically, what you see is what you get. Anything that's not needed for a particular takeoff, you can turn it on or off by using these buttons here on the left. Let's go back to our bid grid. You can now clearly see that everything has been priced out according to the cost. The gross includes your markups. It'll generate your man hours and man days from these screens up here at the top. So let's switch over to pricing. And here we're going to be able to look at different products that we estimate. So we can see that we've got our single ply membrane, we got our fasteners, we got our accessories. It could be Firestone, Carlisle, JP Stevens, Duralast. Any product is inside the edge. You could switch products in and out of this screen. Here is giving your estimated quantity so you can verify that the values that you're receiving from your takeoff is fed to these items. It'll convert it to how you order it and price it. All of these prices can become standardized in your database. If you need a price from your vendors, you can tag these items from this particular bid and you can execute what we call the vendor quotes. Once the vendor quote opens up, you'll be able to tag your vendors and then tell them what's the date that you want it by, what's the reference number, the bid date, bid location, etc. And you can just send that off to your vendors. What that'll do is let your vendors price these items. They'll send it back to you and you can just apply and compare your vendors against each other for a more competitive pricing of a bid. Once you accept it into the edge, it'll populate in this column here. Anything that's red under this row indicates an error. So for example, if I turn this to 0, you'll see that that item on the left turns red. That's a flag. That's error checking. So let's go ahead and put that back in there at $100 or $120. If you want to save that to the database instantly for all the other estimators in your company, you could mark it. and just send over that particular item or multiple items to your database. So we can go ahead and save that very quick. But it's doing this automatically. So you're using the technology to advance yourself from setting up a bid, quantifying the quantities that you need to generate these items, and then you can manage your pricing through vendor quotes. You save the pricing back to the database because everything's in the cloud. All your estimators will be able to utilize the same pricing structure throughout the company. The next is labor. Everybody has a labor method that they use. The Edge lets you work in man days, man hours, crew days. Any of these different options can be activated so multiple estimators can work from different columns to generate what the cost is going to be as far as labor cost, how many hours and man days. All of this rolls right into what we call the recap screen. One of the things that the Edge does clearly is it has the ability to use smart, intelligent labor. It'll remember these descriptions from your labor screen. So if I click on flashing and I hit the labor, it'll give me different quantity productions of flashing walls based on an 18-inch, 24, 36, whatever size wall you're dealing with. It'll generate a different cost for those from your database in the cloud. So all the estimators can work from a standard platform for labor. The recap brings it all together, which will compare your pricing from your labor and your pricing screen to give you your gross price, which can include different markups for labor, overhead, subcontract, equipment, and other, including your overhead and profit. Over on the right is your cost based on the number of squares that the roof is measured at. So we can compare what this selling price is or contract based on what that per square price is. Over time, you'll be able to compare this to other projects to see if you're in the right neighborhood. And that concludes the Edge, overall the 6 steps. And if you have any questions, just give me a call or give our company a call. We'll be happy to explain the other valuable aspects of the Edge. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending, everyone. We've got some time for questions. And if you haven't already gone ahead and typed in those questions in the box to the right, do so. While we're doing that, we'll launch a poll to gather more information in an effort to help create customized, relevant webinars on topics you would like to learn about in the future. Please note my contact information on the site as well as any specific questions or demo requests that you would like to have. Let's get to the questions.
All right, we aren't seeing any questions for John here. We'll give it a few more seconds. So just a reminder that questions pane is in the top right of your screen. All right, John, it looks like we've got one question in here. Does the Edge come with reports?
Yes, that was one thing I didn't cover in the webinar. The Edge comes with a variety of different reports, both in the Edge client and the Edge cloud. Thank you.
All right, it looks like that's it for questions for today. Thank you everybody for joining. And we will again get a copy of the recording out to everybody. And thank you, John, and hope you all have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.